Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Jerry Kreitzer, who is director of the Cedar Rapids Concert Chorale. Jerry, thanks for being here.
Dennis, thanks for having me on. It's always great to be over the airwaves at KCCK.
Great to see you. Of course, I had a chance to see you a few weeks ago at Bruce Orchestra because the Concert Chorale was the backing vocalist to all the great vocalists and the orchestra that were a part of that show. Congratulations again on a great night.
Well, thanks. It was the first of three performances with us with Orchestra Iowa, but what a tremendous concert coming out of the gates of COVID for Orchestra Iowa and the city of Cedar Rapids, and a huge crowd with Rodgers and Hammerstein. Couldn't have been better.
Yep, feels good to be back.
Yep,
and feels good, I'm sure, to have the Concert Chorale coming back.
Yeah, it was a long 18 months, but it was really well spent. We did a lot of work in the interim, planning, of course, for the season, but also kind of sitting back and looking at our illustrious past of 62 years and kind of reimagining where we might want to be and who we might want to be. And so we've done some great new marketing things, new branding, kind of gotten rid of audition processes and other things. And we've already seen an uptick, 15, 20 new singers this year. So
nice.
It's been great, yeah.
Well, let's talk in a few minutes about kind of the season as a whole and what some of the highlights are going to be. But let's start with the concert that is coming up on October 24th. And it's going to be, I think, a very special night of music as we remember and celebrate all of those who we lost during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And actually, 2:30 in the afternoon performances, and we've got a couple of those this year. But Sunday afternoon, we just figured it might open the doors to a wider audience that might be able to fit that afternoon into their schedule better. But it seems a little odd following up Rodgers and Hammerstein with Mozart Requiem. But I felt it was a really good way to come out and say we're coming out of the pandemic, and to take a moment and grieve for those that passed during the pandemic, most of which weren't allowed to have that kind of ceremonial passing, no music and no gathering, and so we felt like this was a really good way to pay homage to those in this horrible pandemic that we're coming out of, I hope. So first of all, we'll have a great orchestra and 4 wonderful soloists. But I've invited a member of every faith community in Cedar Rapids to do a prayer or a reading before every movement. And I just felt like let's be totally inclusive of all humanity in this performance of a Catholic Requiem, which I think Mozart would certainly agree with.
Who are the soloists?
Soprano Jessica Prey from Iowa City, alto Lynn Curry from Cedar Rapids, young budding tenor Ian Butler from here, and the bass is going to be Bradley Barrett.
Oh, from the choir across the street.
Choir across the street. Great friend and colleague.
And Mozart's Requiem is going to be October 24th. And where is that?
First Lutheran Church. Okay. Yep, First Lutheran Church at 2:30 in the afternoon.
And as you said, an afternoon concert. So that will get the season off to a memorable start. I know you mentioned a couple of other gigs the chorale has with Orchestra Iowa coming up. What is going to be the remainder of your season other than that?
Well, the holiday pops with the Orchestra Iowa, and then we'll do a holiday concert of our own at St. Paul's with the Carolinaires from St. Paul's. Will share that concert with us, and featuring Britain's A Ceremony of Carols with harp, and Daniel Pickham Christmas Cantata with brass organ. So should be a festive concert. In March, we're going to do a concert that was scheduled for May of 2020.
Got to go back and pick some of these up.
And then rescheduled for last season and rescheduled again. But it's one that I've been dying to do. All Cedar Rapids composers with Cedar Rapids connections. The highlight of which will be a commission by Robert Lindsay Nassif of his American Gothic one-act opera that he wrote a few years ago.
Oh, which I have seen, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it was such a stunning work. We had coffee, and I said, wouldn't you arrange that for three-movement work for chorus? And so we're going to do that. A couple of pieces by Michael Dougherty, a fairly well-known composer from the area.
Few people know who he is.
Yeah.
Only regarded as one of the top composers in the nation.
Professor Emeritus Jerry Owen from Co., Dan Malloy, Charlie Kuchera, Rick Biella has got some Cedar Rapids ties. So it's going to be a great concert. And then in May, I'm very excited to do work by Paul Winter, the Paul Winter Consort. Some of your jazzers may know of Paul Winter.
We know Paul, yeah.
And he wrote a piece in collaboration with Paul Haley and a number of other composers in the 80s called Misa Gaia, Earth Mass. And so we'll do a little celebration of Mother Earth, Brother Sun, Sister Moon in May at the Czech and Slovak National Museum.
So you mentioned that you've changed the organization a little bit, eliminated auditions and things like that. So if, obviously, you've got a concert coming up in a couple of weeks, but if do you take new members throughout the year, or is there a period at the beginning of the season? No,
absolutely. We take anybody anytime. And my rationale is people sometimes auditions, shy people away from joining a group. And most people that want to seek out and sing in an organization like ours has probably got quite a bit of choral experience, and so why put them through that kind of thing? And we've gotten great singers in this transition to go along with the great singers we already had.
62 years of the Cedar Rapids Concert Chorale.
Year, and the new tagline is the song that flows through the city. Much like the Cedar Rapids.
Just like the river.
Cedar River.
It's Mozart's Requiem kicking off continuing the season. I guess we'll call Bruce Orchestra the kickoff to the chorale season. But it's October 24th at First Lutheran Church. If people want more information about the concert, or if they're interested maybe in joining the chorus, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can get a hold of us on our Facebook page. It's crchorale.org. They could email us at crconcertchorale@gmail.com or visit us on Facebook. So,
all right. Jerry Kreitzer from the Cedar Rapids Concert Chorale. Well, I wish you the best to kick off the season with the Requiem, and come and see us again in a few months, and we'll talk about more upcoming events.
Love to, Dennis. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture, or however you get your podcasts. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.